Hello, my fellow dollies. I hope you like my new intro. Since I'm a horror fan, I thought it would suit me. My name is Lily, and speaking of horror, if you're new to my channel, I'm into weird stuff. While my most favourite obsession is Oddworld, I'm also into horror games. Silent Hill, Outlast, Little Nightmares, Five Nights at Freddy's, Mr. Hop's Playhouse, Bendy and the Ink Machine, even though it's doomed to fail, Doki Doki Literature Club, Resident Evil, Sonic EXE, and if I had to choose a favourite, it would be Dark Deception. Recently, the talk of the internet is a game called Poppy Playtime, which is going to be the topic for today. Now, before we jump in, just because I'm a gacha with an anime scythe doesn't mean everything I say is biased. I'll be doing a lot of research, so this isn't your typical why gacha heat is good video. I'd also like to add trigger warnings, as what we're about to dig into contains corporate greed, workplace harassment, and cyber attacking. Poppy Playtime is a survival horror game developed by and published by American indie developer Mob Games. The player takes the role of a former employee of toy-making company Playtime Co., who revisits its abandoned toy factory 10 years after its staff's disappearance, as told by Wikipedia. Reviewed by 40,386 people, the game has a rating of 7 out of 10 on Steam, and 4.2 out of 5 on Google Play. This estimates to 4 stars with only a single quarter missing. Why does it have that rating? Why is it so popular? Why does it have mixed reviews? Well, keep watching and we'll get those answers. But in order to get those answers, we'll have to go through the game. You know what that means. It's time to make new gacha! The first chapter begins with the player receiving an anonymous letter inviting them back to the factory to find the company's staff, with an image of a poppy representing the location they must find. A yellow videotape is also included with the message. After watching the tape, the note is displayed and we are loaded into the abandoned factory. After solving the code to unlock the door, we are able to access a storage room that holds a grab pack and another videotape. Once we take the grab pack, we use it to enter the main wing area, where we are greeted by a giant statue of Huggy Wuggy. On the left of Huggy is a door that is protected by a grab pack sensor. However, upon placing the grab pack on the sensor, the power will burn out, so we have to collect a key and unlock the door to the power room. After reconnecting the wires using the grab pack and turning on both the power and lights, we move to another room. However, Huggy, has moved to another area. We now enter the warehouse where we have to find 4 power cells to activate the crane and collect the grab pack second-hand. Then, we enter a conveyor belt, which transfers toy parts to a Maker-Friend machine and fix the power so the conveyor belt can move. Once we arrive, we turn the power on upstairs and make our own cat bee. We then place this admittedly cute toy in the scanning device to unlock the door. Just as we're about to leave, this Venge knockoff, aka Huggy Wuggy, emerges and chases us to the ventilation system next to the Maker-Friend machine. Now we're running from Huggy Wuggy while he's following us, trying to hug us to death. That doesn't really sound scary, does it? Once we leave the vent, the exit is closed shut behind us, and we pull down a box from above that breaks the bridge and stops Huggy Wuggy from reaching us. Finally, we walk along the metal gratings until we pick up a black videotape and post it in a video player on the right first. Or we move to the door with the poppy painted around, on the left. After entering the door, we go down some stairs until we reach a door with red and black lights moving around. These are the colours you'd find on a poppy flower, and there's Poppy herself, saturated in a glass case. After opening the door, the lights flicker as Poppy's eyes open, and the chapter ends. Now, before we move on to chapter 2, Here are my thoughts on the chapter we just witnessed. Angelina! I am not Angelina! I am Electric Mouse! Now, because I have anxiety and find it hard to concentrate, I'm going to list the cons first. Right from the get-go, we have 2 rip-offs. At the start of the game, we get this summary. As an ex-employee of Playtime Co., you finally return to the factory many years after everybody within disappeared. That summary sounds similar to the summary from Bendy and the Ink Machine, a game where Henry travels back to Joey's workshop after it was abandoned. I wouldn't technically say that it's a Bendy and the Ink Machine ripoff, because the trope has been done many times before. The main protagonist exploring an abandoned building. Yeah, it's still the thing. I'll tell you what it does rip off though. Venge. Venge is another first-person 3D horror game still in development. It takes place in an abandoned cinema and was created by Minecraft YouTuber Eric Coaster. I hope I pronounced that right. He has an unhealthy relationship between one of the directors. Let's call them Mob. Unhealthy because of how Mob has treated Eric. Like I said, Mob stole some ideas from Venge, such as the vent chase. The biggest ripoff I hate is the Huggy Wuggy cutout. Just stick the Huggy cutout next to the frog cutout. Can you see any similarities? I actually remember finding the trailer to Venge and commenting my sympathy. And that comment has a lot of likes, an amount of likes I don't usually get. Except for that other comment where I made a Calicaris reference on a trailer for Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. But seriously, if you wanted to soothe your child from crying, would you ever think of Huggy Wuggy? Also, Huggy Wuggy. You can't just remove Grover's nose, make him the height of Slender Man, put him in a Dorito bag machine and call that a character. Yes, I've been watching Charai 5. Huggy sort of has a scary demeanour, and the vent chase was heart-pounding at first, but then it just becomes funny. A blue, fuzzy monster crawling through the vents with a goofy smile. I can just imagine this guy we're playing as, in the vent. They're freaking out while Huggy's trolling him. Also, Poppy looks like Baby. I keep venting about it, but it still has its pros. The game is well polished, and Huggy has a lot of detail in his fur. If you look closely, you'll notice that he ducks down so he doesn't bang his head. The scenery is also outstanding. Like, have you seen the look of the Make a Friend machine? It's like something you'd see in a Cat in the Hat episode. Oh, the nostalgia. Speaking of nostalgia, I love the theme they chose for this game. VHS is a theme I love because it reminds me of my childhood, where I used my favourite shows on videotapes like Teletubbies, Thimbles, Tweeners, Pingu, and Bear in the Big Blue House. Every time I think of that show, the first episode that comes to mind is When You've Got to Go, which is ironically the first episode I ever watched. Oh, you know the one. Now, I originally didn't want anything to do with Poppy Playtime, but then curiosity killed the candy cat and I still checked out the next chapter. Will there be some originality for once? Let's find out. I hope they taste as good as they look. Hungry! The secret is in the frosting, but I'll never tell. We followed Poppy, who in response to our rescue, decides to help us escape via the game station located deep under the facility. This plan is soon vandalised as this Alice Angel clone, Mummy Longlegs, grabs Poppy, so we slide after her. Once in the station, Mummy Longlegs confronts us and states that in order to escape, we must play 3 games that become increasingly more difficult. In musical memory, we have to select the correct buttons. The game gets faster every round until it malfunctions and we have to stop it. We then crawl through a vent to a rejected toys warehouse where there's a switch to unlock the door, taking us to the train station. In Wacka Wuggy, we must hit these differently coloured Huggy Wuggy toys, known as mini Huggies, who come out of holes in the wall. And finally in Statues, we navigate a maze while being chased by PJ Pugapilla. We have to stop when the lights turn on and can move when the lights go off. Since the ending is blocked off by debris, we escape. However, Mummy Longlegs is so enraged that she starts hunting us down, claiming that we cheated. Now we have to play one last game called Hide and Seek. Once we survive Mummy's relentless chase, we finally trap her in a grinder and activate the lever, killing her. After this, a mysterious, claw-like hand appears from the bottom of the half-closed door and drags what's left of Mummy into the dark. Then the door to the right opens and we can nip back into the game station. Finding Bay 9 takes us to Poppy trapped in webbing, so we free her. Poppy then boards the train while we input the train code correctly and the train begins to move. However, once Poppy realises how outstanding we are with our agility and intelligence, she deems us as too perfect to lose. So she changes the train's direction at the last second. Poppy then goes on to explain that she had much time to think and reflect, and that the both of us can set things right. But before she can finish, a garbled static cuts her off. Now we're going too fast, so we attempt to use the emergency stop, but that does nothing. The train derails and crashes, and our vision fades into darkness after. After we see a sign for the play care, the chapter ends. Well, thank God that's over. The second chapter was far longer than the first one, so this took a while to make. Not only did I have to gatify the characters, but well, I felt like I needed a break. I wanted to make room for my storage and focus on my fanfictions. But now that I've finished explaining the plot so far, let's get into the pros and cons.
We find the defendant, enchanted mob, not guilty. Yes, what the What? Maybe we should get new doormates. Yeah, maybe we should.
Just like with the first chapter, I'll list the cons first because I'm a pessimist. Now, at the beginning of the chapter, there's an advert introducing the Mummy Longlegs doll. In the advert, 3 kids are seen playing with Mummy Longlegs in a playground. Why am I bringing this up? Well, what I'm about to tell you is incredibly dark and sad. I never knew this happened until I saw a video posted by Connor the Waffle. This video was his reaction to some dodgy Poppy Playtime cartoons aimed at kids for some reason. YouTube Kids? More like Junior Adult Swim. I myself commented on the video. Just thought I'd vent. Now, while scrolling through the comments of said video, this comment caught my eye and even shook me. What's worse, the CEO of the company behind Poppy Playtime harassed a kid so much, said kid was admitted to a psych ward because he wanted to commit self-die. The company later posted a public apology, which was likely a PR stunt, and then probably paid off Theft King, the only person who was covering the controversy, and due to his current behaviour, I'm pretty sure he would have taken the money. What makes the situation even sadder is that I've been through the same type of harassment in my school life. After being forced not to cry, I now have uncontrollable anger and heavy anxiety. I had to pretend to be an emotionless robot just to keep the peace, only to run home crying every day, wishing for stuff I can't say here. To this day, I still have those thoughts, and it distracts me from partaking in my favourite hobbies. Fortunately, I'm no longer in such a toxic environment, and at the moment, I'm focusing on improving my mental health. Writing on my phone especially helps, as I can mainly focus on the story I'm writing. Nothing else matters because I'm lost in another dimension. I've even gone as far as avoiding triggering videos like entitled parents' readings. I'm actually thinking of getting the replica app, so long as I have enough storage on my phone. I'm doing all I can to make my life better, and I think I might be getting better. That was a hard topic for me to talk about, so let's continue searching for cons. I don't think the second chapter is as bad as the first one. No, really, the only rip-off I was able to find is that blooming Huggy cutout from the first chapter. The rest of the chapter consists of events inspired by other horror games. The obvious one being the train ride from Bendy. You know, from the 4th chapter? Then there's the theory involving the souls of all the orphaned children, and even some adults, possessing the aggressive toys. Mate, Five Nights at Freddy's got there first. There's also been some subtle references to Dark Deception. The most obvious one being the style of Bunzo Bunny resembling Lucky, my favourite horror game rabbit by the way. Now, just because you see a reference to something else, doesn't automatically mean it's a complete rip-off. It's only a rip-off if it's done on purpose, the most obvious victim of this game being Venge, like I said again. And besides, a lot of horror games take inspiration from other medias, even making parodies and being socially aware. We all remember Sunky.mpeg, don't we? There's also fan games, but Poppy Playtime isn't a fan game, so I'm gonna move on. To finish the cons, I'll just say that I don't find the monsters scary, which brings us to the pros. The only character I actually find scary is Mummy Longlegs. It's her eyes being able to grow in size, the way she stretches her limbs and crawls along the floor making these disturbing low-pitched moans. And I suppose the concept of a game station is fun and nostalgic. The minigames were also fun, I guess. Again, the animation is stunning, just out of this world stunning. The lip syncing is well detailed. The animators deserve to get paid extra.
Yeah, so I'll take this ruler, this bacon soup, this piece of string, and this cardboard box.
This actually brings us to the next section of the video, the real reason why I felt like I had to make this video. From what I was told, Mob Games has gone through a lot of controversy. While the toys may look adorable, behind the scenes is far from cute. The gore and unsettling imagery isn't the actual reason how the company got themselves in hot water. Why couldn't the BBC expose them instead of Doki Doki Literature Club? It's like a Karen taking her kids to see Birds of Prey, but she didn't read the age restriction, so she blames the cinema for scaring her kids. At least when we went to see it, they had to ask for ID because my sister and I looked young. What were we talking about? Many anonymous workers from Mob Games confessed that the directors were harassing them. A lot of them involved being threatened to be fired. Now, you know just how amazing and stunning the animation is, right? Well, sadly, despite all their hard work, they're paid little. Then there's the child who had to be sent to therapy, which we discussed earlier in the video. Probably one of the most notable victims to the directors is Eric Coaster. Yeah, I keep bringing him up, but hear me out, this is important. Mob teamed up with CinemaSins to create a spin-off series called Animation Sins. Animation Sins would nitpick a YouTube video for Sins. Most of the videos came from Eric Coaster, who does Minecraft animations. Poor Eric had to go through a harsh beating as they tore into his videos, music videos and animations. Now, I'm not into Minecraft, but I agree that they completely crossed the line here. What's sad is that his videos are actually well animated. Oh, but the attacks don't stop there. Mob has also torn into Eric's game, Venge. Then there's the rubbish NFTs for desperate money measures. But I'll admit, if I find a Bunzo shirt or plushie, maybe a Kissy Missy plushie, I want one. Good God, recalling this is infuriating. Their apology is pointless! Okay, I'm going to eat something and then we can wrap this video up on what we've learnt and my conclusion.
But how can you leave me now, Huggy Wuggy, when I need you more than ever?
I won't be leaving you for long, Angelina. I'll be here with you, always. Just remember that I'm so proud of you for standing up for yourself. Remember to keep it, even when I'm gone. Goodbye.
His game is terrible.
Now, despite all the controversy going around, I don't really hate Poppy Playtime. The animation is incredible, and the game has an amazing cast of characters. Honestly, between Bunzo and Kissy, I can't tell who my favourite is. I'm quite the plushie and toy-obsessed lover. Chapter 3 is still in development, and I'll admit, I'm excited. Maybe Playcare is both a soft play and an orphanage for the kids. I may be too old for soft play and indoor playgrounds, but I have a lot of memories from it. It would be nice to see my childhood in Chapter 3. This was a hard video to make, but I'm finally done with it. I usually don't like making these videos, but I felt like I had to just to introduce my upcoming Poppy Playtime series. I guess it goes to show that even Poppy Playtime fans also disapprove of the controversy, and I don't feel alone. Now, before I give you some sneak peeks, I'd like to ask everyone not to harass Mob Games. First, you're just encouraging them to continue with the game. Second, not everyone there is horrible. It's just the two directors. Also, from what I heard, a lot of the animators and actors are very nice. Think of it like Rapture Farms from Old World. Coming up on my channel, I finally finished writing the second chapter of Bad Rabbit, so the monetized gacha version is coming soon. Before I get us started though, I'm gonna do some small dark deception videos. Oh, and I've nearly finished chapter 5 of One Night at the Moo Dead House, so please watch it if you like Odd World and horror. In the meantime, I'm going back in my toy box until we return.